Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Professors of Profit vlogcast. I'm your host, Dr. F Scott Feil, and I've got a very special guest with me today, lifelong friend, not a healthcare provider. However, she's been doing this for so long, she literally turned this from a side hustle into a full-time gig, which is what I recommend you try to do with your side hustle. So let me introduce to you today, Jessica Pate. Jessica, how are you doing? And tell us a little bit about what you're up to these days.
What I'm up to these days. A lot of craziness like everybody else with kids at home and work life, everything being crazy. I run an eBay business, and so I work from home. And so you kind of think that during coronavirus it'd be like the easiest thing to transition. You know, I'm luckier than other people because I'm home all the time, but oh my goodness, like I'm kind of thinking I can't wait until like I have my space back because everybody's in my space. I'm like, I need to work. It's really hard for children, especially, to understand I need to work right now. And I'm used to doing it by myself, but it's good. I you know, like you said, I used to do this as a side hustle, and now I'm a full-time eBayer and, you know, love my job, work from pajamas. And as you can tell, like I said, no makeup, my hair's in a ponytail every day.
Right. Well, I want to talk about this a little bit deeper. I want to do a deeper dive. So the last Professors of Profit episode I did was just me talking about eBay in general and how I use eBay, and I strongly recommend it for those just starting a side business. It takes a couple $100 to get an LLC up and running and you know, really put together a true business. So I always recommend using eBay to just run around the house, sell some stuff you don't need, like an online garage sale type thing, and bootstrap, you know, and get that little starter money, that little seed money that's going to get you going. But you've transitioned it into a full-on reselling business. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what are some things that people who are interested in this need to know about your side business or your full business now?
Yeah, well, it used to be my business. And this was a way that, you know, like Scotty and I go way back to college. And it cracks me up because we used to have like a joke about, you know, you remember we'd go, hey, have you heard about this thing called eBay? Because we both loved it way back in the day. And so I've always had an eBay mindset and a side hustle mindset because I went through grad school and didn't want to accrue a bunch of debt and always kind of did it on the side and then transitioned it to a full-time business. And so when you're kind of doing it on the side, like you said, it's a good place to begin to take things that you already own and kind of sort of figure out the system a little bit, because you do that on a personal account. When you set up an eBay account, you have a personal account and you have a business account. And as long as you're selling things that are your own property, you did not buy to resell for profit, legally you can sell them under their personal account. But as soon as you flip the switch to going, you know what, I've kind of figured these things out and I want to start selling things that I'm buying specifically to resell, then you need to go into your eBay account and set up a business account. And at that point in time, you know, like you said, you really need to have an LLC, you need to have an EIN, you need to, you know, a lot of times accountants, you can sit down with them and do a one-time thing and they'll set you up. You know, I wish I would have set my business up as an S Corp to begin with, because there are more tax benefits when you have an S Corp. And I still don't totally understand that. And, you know, I'm totally not an accountant, but for me, I've set up my business as an S Corp. And so the way to begin is, like you said, kind of get a little seed money, kind of figure out what you're doing with just kind of the ins and outs of eBay. And then turn your eBay switch on. Because, you know, you'd ask me like, what are some tips about the best things that I can say to start an eBay side hustle? And I would say kind of to put your eBay antenna up, your reselling antenna up wherever you go, as you're starting to think, hey, I might want to resell on eBay. Every place you shop and every place that you go to, think, you know, are there good deals here? What kind of margins are there? And sort of start getting ideas as you're selling your own stuff and figuring out how much eBay fees cost. You're figuring out shipping fees, and you're kind of figuring things out. But at that same time, kind of put your antenna up and start looking for, hey, what would I be interested in reselling as a business?
Yeah, those are a ton of super good points. I didn't even think about the business account for eBay. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but you know, it's definitely one of those things that I could see myself doing. What are some of the pros and cons? Why should professors or healthcare providers consider starting an eBay business?
I would say because it's something that anyone can do. You would be amazed. I've been doing this full time for 15 years, and I've been doing it. It was a side hustle for me when I was in grad school, and when I first got married and moved, and I did it on the side before I transitioned it into full time. And so I'd say one of the best reasons you can do it is because anybody can do it. You just have to figure out what you know a lot about. Like, I feel like the wrong way to approach to selling on eBay is to like go to a website and go, hey, what can I import from China? And what kind of cogs can I resell? And what kind of my profit margin is? For me, that wasn't my experience. When I was in grad school, I went to grad school in Southwest Virginia, and J. Crew Distribution Center was up the road. And I went and got some stuff for myself. And again, sort of my eBay antenna went up, and I went, hey, there's some really good deals here. I think I could like make some money doing this. And I worked my way through grad school. I'd go to the distribution center. They had back in the day, they had like a little building off to the side, and they just roll out their catalog returns in these big bins. And if you were there, I was buying dresses for like $20 and reselling them for $100 and working my way through grad school. I mean, it wasn't a full-time business, but you know, everybody who's had a GA position knows you make like diddly squats.
Yeah.
And so just sort of everywhere you go, there's opportunities. And for some people who don't know, like I at the time pretty much only wore J. Crew. So I knew the product really well.
Yes.
I knew, I know it's kind of pathetic, but I mean, truly it's
it's an area of expertise.
You have to sort of know, and something that you love and you're interested in. And like for me, I kind of knew what I liked and what my contemporaries liked. And so I sort of knew what to buy. I sit on eBay's government relations team, where I get to fly to DC once every year, every other year. And we go and meet with representatives. And it's a really neat opportunity for me to meet other eBay sellers. And it is crazy. It amazes me what people sell. Like there'll be people who sell antique coins. There'll be people who sell like motorcycle parts. There's people who sell guitar strings. There's a guy who has like a 50,000 square foot warehouse, and he sells kitchen cabinet knobs.
Wow.
Like eBay is like, you know, the whole, you can find it on eBay is truly true. And so whatever you're interested in is what you have expertise in. And you can sort of take your shopping prowess and turn it into, you know, into a good, solid side hustle where you're making some money. You know, instead of just getting one shirt for yourself, you buy like 5. And, you know, used to I do that. I'd like finance something for myself. Well, I really want this. And I go, well, I'll get my money back because I'll sell 3 more. So it's a crazy, it is crazy. Every single store that you go into, there are eBayers who are shopping there.
Yep.
And that's another tip that
clearance racks pretty hard.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, there are people who like go into Carter's, you know, you go into your kid's store and they go into Carter's and they clean up and they spend $3 on a pair of shorts, and then they resell it for like $14.99 with free shipping. And, you know, they're making $4 or $5 by the time you pay your fees and taxes and everything. But when you think about it, you're doubling your money, and and you're building relationships. So if there are deals that you see, I would say another tip would be when you're sourcing, when you're trying to figure out what you're going to source, is never be afraid to ask questions, because you could ask the Carter's employees. I think it's always best to be completely upfront, because some businesses do have policies where they will not sell to resellers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's always very good to be clear and upfront and say, hey, I'm thinking of like, this looks like a really good deal. I'm thinking of buying a bunch of these and turning around and selling it on eBay. Okay with your store? And like, when do your sales happen? When do your discounts happen? Do you get shipments in? Can you call me? Is there someone I can talk to? Is ask a lot of questions. And you'd be surprised, because a lot of times retailers like are happy to offload inventory that they're not interested in, but it has to be something you know and love,
right?
And know really well.
Yeah, you know, Jess, you make a lot of really great points there, and I want to touch on a few of them. One, you paid your way through grad school to some extent doing this stuff, so people can do that, right? Students who are in healthcare courses right now can help defray some of the cost, right? And lower that student loans on the back end by doing some of this stuff while they're in school, right? The other thing too, I think that you made a great point of is you've got to be open and honest and upfront about what you're doing, because A, that creates relationships, but B, you know, you're not trying to misrepresent anything. You're literally going in there, and
Right.
that's how you'll get the best deals. You'll learn when things are put out, when their circulation goes through, and when they're putting out clearance stuff or whatever things you may be interested in. Oh, well, every Tuesday we do this, or every Wednesday
Right.
at 4
We
have
get our
shit.
we get our markdown list on Tuesdays. Hey, do you want to come up? I used to have a store that they got their markdown list on Tuesday, and before they even marked it and put it out on the floor, they would say to me, hey, do you want to come up and take a look at it?
Yep.
And we'd create a whole separate thing of what I was going to buy.
Yeah.
That stuff never even hit the floor, and I got the best deals at the best margin, and they were happy because they weren't spending man hours to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, it's as long as you can do it and make it mutually beneficial and be honest, I think it's the best, best way to approach life. It's always be honest.
Sure. Well, Jess, you've given my audience a ton to think about here. What would you say is like your one best like hack or tip or golden nugget for those who are just getting started? What's one piece of advice that you really wish that you knew right off the bat?
Oh, goodness. Well, I think and I guess it wouldn't be right when you're getting started, but
or even a little bit further down the road, just one real good nugget to hold on to.
For eBay specifically, in the last 5 years, eBay has started to do a massive conference every year called the eBay Open.
Ooh.
And it's an investment of time and it's an investment of money. It's usually $400 or $500 to go to it, but it is basically a conference for 1,000 eBay sellers, and they have everyone who runs eBay there. And it's like, it's like going to a healthcare conference where you learn about the new implementation of HIPAA or, whatever, all the different things. They have a ton of sit down courses that you can learn about aspects of different things. And then they have seller roundtables for, antiques. They have seller roundtables for all the different areas of interest, for like clothing reselling or like, handbag resales. And you get to meet all these people. So it's something I didn't know about because they don't really they advertise it a little bit, and of course they didn't do it this year, but I anticipate they'll do it next year. And so once you sort of get your feet wet, if you have a little bit of extra money, I mean, it's probably $1,000 investment by the time you go, but it is invaluable, the information that you can learn in one place over the course of 3 days.
Well, I think first off, another two great points you just made. One, investing in yourself and your own business is one of the best investments you can make, right? Whether it be a course for future learning, or whether it be, a continuing ed course, or whether it be just books and knowledge, right? And self betterment, right? Just trying to get better, trying to learn more, trying to do things, becoming that lifelong learner. The other thing too is it's a tax write-off, right? If you're going to a conference for your business, it's a tax write-off. So not the end of the world. I think it's a great tool, and that is a great tip and trick for those interested in starting an eBay business. Well,
and
Jess,
another thing that I say, can I tell you on taxes?
Yeah, please.
Is eBay is something that you have to manage it yourself, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. But keep really, start out as soon as you start profiting, get yourself an LLC, what we talked about, and really keep good books, because anytime you start filing a Schedule C, of course, you're going to throw up red flags because you're, going to have a home office and you're going to be doing deductibles. But you really need to get your ducks in a row with accounting and keep good books. And they don't have to be, you don't have to use like bookkeeping software. You can. I started out and I just used an Excel file.
I do too. I use a paper ledger still.
Right. Yeah. And you can and you can write off, truthfully, with eBay, I found in the beginning when I did it as a side hustle, I would write off a lot of my profits with just my mileage deduction. Every time I drive to the store, every time I drive to the post office, every time I drive to UPS, or like I'd go see my dad, and my dad's 286 miles away, and halfway there is a store I would stop at. And so I would write off literally half of my trip.
Yeah.
And I would, because I'd stop at the store, I'd make sure to purchase a few things, build my relationships. And at the end of the year, I write off every year now 11,000 miles, which is like a $6,000 tax write-off.
Wow.
I mean, and then you end up, not doing it for free, but it ends up being, when you're beginning, when you're not making a ton of money, mileage can definitely, and there's all kinds of apps you can get to track that super easy.
Yeah. Well, Jess, I can't thank you enough for your time and for coming on to give us this knowledge. I knew that you would be the one to talk to about this stuff. Because, healthcare provider or not, you've just been doing it for so long and you're just so well knowledged and versed in it that I had to have you on. So thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Where can people reach out to you if they have any follow-up questions or just want to see what you're up to?
Sure. My email it's my name. It's super easy. Jess, Jess, Pate, Pate at hotmail.com is
Great.
the easiest place to get a hold of me.
And I'll drop that in the show notes too, so people can follow up with you if they have any questions. Jess, thank you again so much. Always a pleasure to see you. Look forward to doing it again in the future.
I know. Move closer to me.
I'm working on it.
Bye, Scotty.
Bye.